Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm T with Teresa H Creates, and this is part 2 of my grungy accordion binding junk journal. And this is all of the stuff that I put together in the first video to make our signatures. And now let's get started on getting them prepped. So I'm going to move that aside. That little leaf there is going to be part of this journal, some decoration. I think I want to do something with that. And then this is our accordion binding. I'm going to set it aside to keep it safe and out of the way so it doesn't get bent up. This is the book cover that I chose. I'm leaving it kind of raw right now and rough because I'm not sure what direction I'm going to go in as far as the final look of that. And now let's go through the papers that we pulled together for our junk journal. Now, I do have this piano paper here. It likes to curl quite a bit. I think that it has some nice coloring and aging on it, but I may want to do just a little bit more on this, so I'm going to set it aside. These are the only printed papers that I'm going to use. These are some old printables that I have here. They're coffee dyed. These already look great as they are, so I'm going to set those aside. We don't need to do anything else with those. This is some fantastic paper that I have in my stash. I know that it's a natural paper. I don't know what it's called, though. I don't know exactly what it's called, but you can see all the little fibers in it and everything. So I need to find the exact name of this. If you know what type of paper this is, please let me know, because I would like to know. I have a bit of this in my collection, in my stash. So I'm going to set it aside, though. It looks great. These guys right here look great. They're nice and grungy. I might add some stuff to it later, but right now I'm happy with that. This as well. This coffee dyed braille paper looks great. These coffee dyed sheets here look great. I have another one of these natural sheets. It's got a lot of texture on it. It looks fantastic, but I'm going to set those aside because those are all wonderful. Here's some nice coffee dyed paper. Again, it looks great. I don't need to do anything else with that. I'm going to set it aside as well. I have this that I'm going to use. This is where the coffee dyed school paper came from, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use this, but I do want to distress it a little bit more, so I'm going to set it over here with the piano paper. Now these are some images that I think that I'm going to use. This is a calendar image for, I think it's a Waterhouse painting. I do want to use it, but I don't know that I necessarily want the calendar back here. So I might do something to cover that. I'm going to put that aside. I might do something to cover this as well. I'm going to set that aside. This definitely needs some grunging up, so I'm going to set that aside. I think that, let me see, this already has some grunge. I may add a little bit more though, so I'm going to set that aside. These papers are far too blank. They need some grunging up, so I'm going to set that aside. These hand-dyed papers are grunged and ready to go. I'm going to put those to the side over here with the stuff that is done and done. This may need a little something. I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do with that to make it look a little grungier, but we can try. I did pull out some packing paper. We might be able to make some pages out of that and grunge that up a little bit. This guy right here, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with it necessarily to grunge it up. It's got this kind of a plastic coating on it, so I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with this, but we can try. We can try something. I don't know that I want to do anything else with this. I might try putting some tea dye on it. We'll try that. I have this little bit here. I think I'm just going to leave this as it is right now. I'm not going to do anything with that. Not a whole lot I can do with this black, so I'm going to set that aside. Here is the other pocket that matches this bag. So it's just a smaller version. I'm not sure which of these I'm going to use exactly. I think it's probably going to be this one, but we're going to go ahead and try to grunge up both of those. Now I do have this. The only thing about this is that I do have some stuff that I'm collecting to make a coffee journal. And I love the fact that it says coffee news. So I don't know that I'm going to necessarily use this in this journal. I may, here, let's go ahead and make an executive decision here. I'm going to tear this, and this I'm going to use in my coffee journal. I'm going to set that aside. And this I'll use with this one, but it needs some distressing. This I found in an old book that I had purchased, and I'm going to use this somehow, but I think it's already got some nice aging to it, so I'm going to set this aside with my stuff that's already been aged. And then this as well has some nice foxing and aging to it, so I am going to set these sheets aside. All right, so I've got my sheets that I'm going to dye. I'm going to kind of set that aside. I've got a piece of wax paper down to kind of protect my surface. I do have some paper towel here. I have some tea dye. I'm going to do some spraying and kind of do it light, kind of just hit it here and there, these pages, so that we can get some nice cool effects. I did go ahead and pull out some distressing, so I don't know that I'm going to spray. I might try doing a little bit of a dropping and see what effect that gets us. But there's this frayed burlap I pulled because I don't know which of these I'm going to really go with in the end. There's a walnut stain. I've got vintage photo, tea dye, and then I have the black soot. I might add some like droplets with that, but let's go ahead and get started. I want this to be a little bit random. So let's do a few of these at a time. All I did was boil some water and I put just some tea bags in here. So I let it steep like you normally would and then poured it into this spray bottle. What is this spray bottle? This is 10 ounces, so it's about 10 ounces of this tea. I'm just going to kind of let it drop. I'm going to let them sit on each other because then, you know, it kind of just passes that color around. Get a little bit more going here. All right, I'm going to let these kind of drip and run and get all over each other. All right, and let me see what I want to do. Maybe I'll put these aside and I'll practice with just one and see what maybe making some of these little droplets on here does. Let's go ahead and do some, you know what, I'm going to do some vintage photo. I think kind of that orangey color that you get, the sepia that you get with this might look good. See, and those are big heavy drops. I'm not sure that that was what I wanted. I was going to end up wanting, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to let it run a little bit. Yeah, see, those are really thick droplets. Let me pull some others inside. Let me pull another page inside here. I'm going to flip this over. And this is me just playing around, guys. I don't know how this is going to look when it's all said and done. I don't know that I love having the big splotches there in the center. So I'm going to continue to just kind of move these around. I don't think that it's going to take much. I think a little bit here is going to go a long way. Nice. And I think I've got, yep, I've got double-sided coverage there. Let's see what this looks like. Put this down, maybe collect some stuff. I might have to go ahead and ink up another page. All right, let me move this to the side. That one's got ink on the front and the back. Let me put some ink on this one. Oh, what was that? That's tea dye. We'll go ahead and stick with the vintage photo. I'm really liking this color. All right, let it run. This music sheet is pretty thick paper. Oh, look at that. Those drops like this. Those are nice. All right, see, and we've got front and back here. That looks great. Let's see what we can do here. Lovely. All right, this looks really good. I like this side here. Let's see if we can get some drops. We need more over here. We need a little bit more here. Let's get that to run. This is all going to just kind of transfer. It's going to look great. Look, I think it's going to look fantastic. I think that we've got some good coverage here. Now, when I lay these out to dry, I'm going to lay them out separately so they're not going to stick together as they dry. Right now, I just kind of want to keep moving them around so that we get transfer and, you know, droplets and things like that. All right, I think we're good. I think I'm going to go ahead and set these aside to dry, and I'll be right back. I believe I said that I was using wax paper, but I'm actually using parchment paper, not wax paper. So let's go ahead and try to see if we can get some color in here. See this, it might dye if I put that in there. I might get some dyeing, but I think that I'm going to have to open these up and actually drop some stuff in here to get the color to come through. And I could be wrong, but I'm going to kind of open them up and see what we get, see what happens. Just because, like I said, they have kind of this coating on them. I think, let's go with some frayed burlap here. That's a much darker color. Got a little drop on the inside here. get it going and moving. I'm actually going to press that down, get that color moving. And we'll see what we've got. Let me open it back up. I have to be careful. I don't want to rip anything. So I'm working with it while it's wet. There we go. You see it all in there? And I want to see as it dries what it does to the outside of this, because my hope is that the color will dry and kind of soak in and you'll be able to see it from the inside out. All right, same thing here. I'm going to give this a good spray. Let's do something different. Like I said, I'm not sure which one of these I'm going to end up using, but let's do something a little bit different here. We'll do the walnut stain in this one. So again, I'm just going to put a few drops. Well, that was a lot of drops. A lot of drops. All right, and I'm going to spray on top of it, get it moving. Look at that. I really like the way that looks in there. Isn't that pretty? I almost hate to do anything else with it because it looks so pretty. All right. Let's get it moving back this way. I'm going to plop this down and get some of this that's falling out here so it'll fall on. Look at all these little drops and stuff. Lovely. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, so I didn't press this one down like I did this one to kind of get that color transfer because I really want it to kind of stay in those really thick patterns like this. They look like they're branching out almost. And then I want to just kind of try to pick up some of this color that's left here on this parchment paper. Okay, see, and you see this? You can see the pattern that's on the inside soaking up. And it makes those nice drag marks. I don't know, what do you think? I think it looks good. My hands are a mess, but I think it looks good. I'm going to dry hands off real quick. All right, now I'm going to set these aside to dry. All right, let's try a couple of things. This right here is already tea dyed. I wanted to just kind of get some splotches on it. So I might get some of this ink to run. And I am using the Distress ink re-inkers. That is what I'm using to add all the color to this. Just in case you're wondering. I think I'm going to use tea dye with this. And then let's get it to run. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and wet this down. These are cotton fibers. These are going to expand. I've never done anything with a cotton fiber like this, so I don't know how this is going to affect the overall feel or look of this. It's really, really thick cotton fibers. And I know that getting it wet is going to cause the fibers to expand, and then they should dry back up or tighten back up as it dries. But I don't know, you know, what that's going to look like, you know, after they tighten back up. Hopefully, it actually doesn't make much of an impact. I'm going to add Vintage Photo here on this side. So we've got our tea concentrate, and I think I just did like, it's 10 ounces, so I guess it's 10 ounces along with 3 just, you know, regular sized tea bags with that, and let that steep. So that's the amount of tea that's in this. Would just be 3 tea bags worth. There was no rhyme or reason to that. I just wanted it to get to a certain color, and so that's what I did. I kind of want some black splatters on this is what I'm thinking, but I don't want to just go bam directly on this. I think, let's see what I've got here. Let me use one of my little trays. I'm going to drop a little black soot in here. Ooh. And I kind of want splatters. I want big splatters though. I don't want little splatters, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do to make like big splatters. Like I said, I don't want it to just like pour out. Let's try this though. Let's try a little tappy tap, see what happens. Look, I'm nervous. I can't even get it past the lip of this. Here, let's try over here. Not on the paper. You know what? Maybe that's a good idea. We'll do this. All right, and then we'll do this and see what we get. Ooh, all right. That's really dark. I want it to move, but I don't want it to move like a ton. Oh, I like that. I like just picking it up in certain areas. Okay. All right. I'm going to let that sit. I like that. Let's go ahead and pick up some on this too. All right, good. I wanted just a little bit of something to darken it up. All right. I think these look good. And we can do more after they're dry. We don't know exactly what they're going to look like though until they're dry. So let's set this aside. I don't want to mess with it too much. Let's set this aside and we'll go on to our next little bit. All right, let's use some of this. I think that I'm not going to do the whole thing. So I'm just going to do this one section here. And I know we've got a tear in this. I'm not really worried about it. Let me get this up into camera view. All right, let's do this. Let's just give it a good spray. This tea dye is probably going to dye this paper some, right? But it's not going to give it like it's already a craft color, so it's not going to like give it a lot of color. I'm just going to ball it up. So I want all of it to get a little bit wet. Look at that. Yep. Yes, that looks fantastic. Let's do walnut stain's kind of dark. Let's go back to vintage photo. Let's do some vintage photo on here. We've got some lines. We've got some crinkles. All right. Now I'm going to spray this down some more, get it wet again. And then let's ball it up. Get that moving around, right? Yes. Yes. Look, that is going to look so good. I can already see it. I'm going to add some more. I'm addicted. Let's hit it with some of these over here. There we go. I'm going to let it run a little bit. Ball it up again. You know what? I am actually going to do this. That way, some of this on the outside is going to get in there. And so it'll color up, you know, both sides of this. Yes, I'm loving the look of this. I'm just trying to get it to move around some. I know this parchment paper underneath here is kind of annoying, but sorry about that. Let's open it up to, oh, this is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. Look at that. Yep, you can see all the lines where all of it's crinkled and it's starting to gather. Okay, good deal. Look at this. See, it doesn't take much. It does not take much. I'm gonna set this aside and we'll go to our next piece. I've got a new roll of parchment paper. Fantastic. Now we can do all kinds of stuff. All right, I do want to get this colored up. I'm not sure how this is going to look. I've never dyed anything like this. I've never done any dyeing on this. Let's go frayed burlap on this. This is going to be kind of dark. We'll just get some ink moving around. Let's see how it does. Get it moving. I'll drop some on this side. If you have sprays, feel free to use your sprays. You don't have to use your re-inkers. I just wanted to have a little bit more control over the drops, and I didn't want to have sprays. I wanted to have more drops, you know. Let me get a big drop over here too. Cover that up. And I'm going to turn it in a lot of different directions so that we get movement. all over. Look at that. Let's see what we can pick up over here. All right, let's let that dry and see what happens with this. I like having just that big splotch right there. I want to kind of see how that's going to dry. All right, next. All right, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or not, but I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of dyeing. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit like we did with that packing paper. Let's do some vintage photo. Seems to just be kind of a good color. I like the sepia color in here with this. Let's get this moving around. Let's get this crinkled up and get it into some grooves. Give it a flip. There we go. Looks good to me. All right, now I've got my little bag here. This contained goodies from Root & Company, a little shop that I like shopping at. It's an online store. And their little goodies come packaged beautifully. I want to darken this up a little bit. It's already got a lot of that black in there. So I want to darken it up. Yeah, I think that's going to look really good. Just keep flipping it. I'm going to flip it like a tortilla. Just keep the ink moving. And a lot of this, I don't have any experience in dyeing, so we're just going to have to see. We're going to let it dry. We're going to come back. We're going to see. We're going to see if we need more. If we like it, we don't like it. Oh, I love that. Love it, love it. I think that looks great. That's the look I was going for with that one. Perfect. And I'm just going to use the same parchment paper here to get this. This almost looks kind of like parchment paper. This is just such an odd color, and I think that it needs something. It needs something a little extra. I'm going to just drop it in there. Let it run. It's going to mix with that black soot, and we'll see what we get. If it's just a muddy mess or if we get something we actually like. We will see. All right, I think that's it for all of the dyeing that I'm going to do. I'm going to let all of this dry and move on to the next project. All right, now while I'm waiting for my other pieces to dry, I'm going to go ahead and work on these two. So these are a couple of images that I'd like to put into the journal, but I don't want to use the plain back here and then the calendar page here. And this one is on a photo paper, so I don't want to dye it. I don't think that that would work very well. It would probably ruin the image on that. So let's go ahead and cover it up with maybe some decoupage is what I'm thinking. So this is Ciao Bella tissue paper. It's one sheet. And this is called Antique Handwritten Letter. I think that that'll go well with the overall aesthetic. So that is what we are going to do. This tissue paper already has a collaged look to it, so I don't know if I'm going to tear it up. I might just apply it in one solid sheet. That's what I think I'm going to do. So let's start with this image. Let's start with the Waterhouse calendar. I know that the calendar is going to kind of bleed through this, but I'm not worried about it. The majority of it's going to be covered up. It's going to look great. So I don't know that I'm worried about orientation because it actually goes like this, and I don't know how I'm going to fit it into the book yet. So we'll just do this. We're just going to do this. I have Mod Podge. I am down to my last bit of Mod Podge. I have my mat here, my non-stick mat. And I've got my silicone brush. And this is how I like to apply my papers, my tissue papers, my collage, my decoupage papers. I like to do a layer of my adhesive like so. And we're going to put this down. We're going to do it in sections. Put that down. I'm going to come up and I'm going to keep going. I'll work my way out. Look at that. Go ahead and get this side as well. I want to do both sides. I want to go ahead and seal it. You don't have to. This is actually pretty thick tissue paper, so if you didn't want to seal it, you don't have to. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do over the top of this yet, so I'm going to go ahead and seal mine. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and try to lightly release it from, from my nonstick mat here. And then I'm going to set it right there like that, let it continue to dry, and then I'm going to pull out my next image. Let me wipe this down though. I don't want to get glue on the front of that image. Let me make sure this surface is clean. This is just real simple ways to get your papers prepped before you put them into, you know, your signatures, before you get them bound into your book. So we can go ahead and grunge them up and everything. Okay, so this is directional. I'm going to do that way. Let me grab another section of this. This is, I think this is the way. Yes, that is good. So just some fun mixed media things that you can do to prep your papers. Do some paper dyeing. And you saw what we did before. That paper dyeing was quick, easy. It was low mess, you know. I mean, the biggest thing you have to worry about is if you have a really small craft space, then you've got to figure out where you're going to dry it. If you don't have a fur baby, you could probably place them on the floor and let them dry. I have a fur baby and she would walk all over them, so I did not place mine on the floor to dry. But if you were in a smaller space, then that would work. I actually moved mine outside to dry. It's not very windy today, so they should stay put. There we go. Nice. What I do love though is the silicone brush. They're very inexpensive, and if you don't have them, I recommend getting them. It was a little bit of a learning curve trying to figure out the product ratio that you needed. You you know, in order to get it spread, because I used to use the little foam brushes, but having to wash those and keep those maintained, you know, and then you could only use them once or twice before they got crusty and you'd have to toss them. But the silicone brushes, they have been just a game changer here with applying glues and stuff for collage work. It's been great. So I do recommend grabbing some of those. It's just little silicone brushes. Those have been really nice. And I think I just got these off of Amazon, pretty sure. I'm gonna go ahead and let all of this dry. Let's let it dry, and then we'll come back and start putting stuff together and seeing how we're going to work our signatures. So we'll be right back. All right, everything is dry. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got. We've got this calendar piece and then this print on photo paper. They look good. Both are collaged. It's nice and dry. We'll figure out where we're going next with those. And then some of our dyed papers here. Here's some of the music sheet. Isn't that gorgeous? It dyed beautifully. Look at that. Yay. Perfect. All of that dyed beautifully. And then here's that bit of newspaper. What was some sort of newsletter or something. I don't know what it was exactly. Not for sure. Here is that bit of parchment paper type paper we had going on. And then here's that envelope we had. I love this side of it. This didn't cover as much as I thought it would. It was really dark and pulled here, and I thought that it would kind of cover this a little bit more, and it didn't, which is fine. But I might have to do something else to kind of cover that up, or I'll leave it. I don't know. I'll leave it. And then this was our bag, the one that has the, looks more like a cuff here. But we did do some dyeing and stuff, and it's got some nice black splotches. I love this right here. I think that looks fantastic. And look, there's some of it over there too. But anyway, let's see. Here's another set of the decorative bags. So this one, I'll put that black soot all over it, and I absolutely love the way that came out. Here is the dyed bag here. And again, I had hoped that it would, you know, that a lot of the ink from the inside would actually soak through and you'd see it on the outside. And I'm pretty sure that that is what happened here, even though it's not very dark on the inside. Here's the other bag. And I need to remind myself, so I think I used the frayed burlap on this, and the frayed burlap has kind of a green undertone to it. So I think that as it dried, it's what gave this color here, this lighter color. It goes on super, super dark and then does this. So just in case you're using some of the frayed burlap, you know what that kind of, that outcome looks like. And then this, oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. This is our packing paper. I really love the way that looks. And then here is our piece of cotton, dyed cotton paper. I like this, but I don't know that I love having all of this color shine through. So I may go back and spray tea dye over the whole thing and see if I can't get it to darken up a little bit. I want it a little bit darker than this. So out of everything that we dyed, the only thing that I think I need to or want to make a change to is that piece right there. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now so we can have it drying while we're working on other stuff. I also have this. So this is some of the parchment paper. This is just a few sheets of it, and it's all dried, but I kind of like the way this one looked. And I also liked the way this one turned out right here. So I don't know, I may end up using a little bit of this in our actual book. So I'm going to set it aside as a maybe. All right, let's go ahead and start thinking about building up our signatures. Let's go ahead and start folding. You don't need a scoreboard for this. Just line it up, fold it, and use your bone folder to go ahead and crease. I'd be interested in knowing if anyone participated in doing the tea dyeing or the coffee dyeing, if you went ahead and dyed some of your papers or your embellishments or anything. I think it's just super easy with the spray bottle. It's a lot less mess. You don't have as much dripping or anything like that. Just comes together very quickly. So many of these. I do have a few more sheets of this paper left, but I am looking to get more. So I hope that I find out where I got these soon so that I can purchase more of these. I'm starting to think that it might have been an Etsy shop that is no longer open. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through most of this folding, you know, because you don't need to sit here and watch me fold papers. But I do want to keep it in because I really want to keep a lot of the steps, the background steps, the little things that I do to help prep, you know, my signatures and things like that. I do want to keep them in the video so that you're not looking at the final product and going, how did that happen? And when did that happen? And where did that happen? So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward, and then we'll start putting our signatures together. All right, let's go ahead and put together our signatures. Now, I did pull some stuff aside, so I'm going to put the piano paper aside. I'm going to put this. This was left over after I made pages out of the rest of this packing paper. I'm going to set this aside because I still really like it. I'm not sure how I'm going to incorporate this yet. That goes for this and these guys as well. Also the Braille, and then these bags here, and this image. So I'm setting those aside, and I'm going to go ahead and build my signatures out of the papers that you see here. And I'm going to start there. So I think that I'm going to want 7 signatures. I think that's what I'm going to try to put together. So I really like this being on the outside, these guys. So I'm going to start with this, and then let me just, I don't know, work my way around. Do we take one from each pile? Some of these don't have the same amount of stuff in them, so I don't know for sure. But we'll go ahead and just build them up. I don't want to think about it too much. Just do the thing. Let's see. Well, I just put that in there. These are kind of my odds and ends over here, the ones that are just a little bit different. Let's go ahead and use one of these guys. I haven't used a doily yet, so I did. I used that little doily just a second ago. Let me use some of this French paper. I haven't done that yet. Okay, and I know that I've got too many of these, so I've already got 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so a couple of these are going to be doubled up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's do this. This. Okay, we can do this paper. And one of these. I'm not sold on these black pieces yet. They may or may not work. All right. Let's get some French book paper in there. And maybe go ahead and do that. All right, and this I'm going to double up. also, here we go, do this, and this, and this, one of these guys, this large envelope. All right, down to the bottom of this. I don't know if I've got enough here. All right, I'm going to double up on this. I want to get rid of all of this stuff that I have pulled out for these signatures. So let's see how these feel. Do I have a black in here? I do not. So I'm going to go ahead and add a black one in there. That feels kind of thin. We'll add, oh look, got another doily. I don't know how that got in there. Must have slipped in. Does this one have a doily? It does not. I'm going to add one there. That one feels kind of thin. So there we go. It still feels kind of thin. So does this one. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. Okay, so there we go. That was actually really quick. That happened very quickly. Where's my book cover? I'm not sure what I did with my book cover here. There it is. Okay, so book cover. I don't mind if stuff is actually bigger. Obviously, I want to take these down a little bit, but I don't mind if stuff sticks out from the top, the bottom, whatever. This is definitely going to be like a lap book. This isn't, or like a little coffee table book, because you're not going to be able to stand it up when I'm done with it, I don't think. It's not going to be one of those that you place on a shelf. All right, that's it for this video. We got a lot accomplished. In the next video, we will go ahead and attach our signatures to our binding and then start working in some of our other items. We have lots of stuff to add. If you have any questions about what we've done so far, please leave them down in the comment section. If you're enjoying this series, please let me know that also. You can give me a like or put that down in the comment section as well. Thanks for spending some time with me, and until next time, bye.